Hello, everybody. American Scouser is back with our player ratings. Doing this for the first time as a video. Bickler, who is infamous with his ratings in the past, but has stopped typing for some reason, is with us. Bickler, what's up?
What's happening?
Not much, not much. To get you to do ratings, we had to get the keyboard out of the way.
This is the easier way to do it. There's a writer's strike right now, and I just figure this is an appropriate medium.
Well, sounds good. Let's do this. Let's go one by one, give our ratings, and then we'll do man of the match at the end. Start with the guy in goal, Alisson. What do you have for him?
Alisson, I'll take a 7.5 on Alisson. I thought he had a pretty solid game despite the scare getting caught on the ball. I thought he made a number of 1v1 stops first half that were critical when the game was 0-0. I would love for BJ, our stat guy, to get some sort of an advanced metric and see how many stops Alisson 1v1 has had in games that are tied or in the balance. Because I feel like he is a huge difference in keeping games even for us while we kind of figure it out and get in the flow, especially if you're coming off stuff like international break.
So we're going stingy on that end. Okay, I got you. I think that I let's say so that the audience knows, I guess, but let's go 6 as an average performance and judge it off of that. I would give Alisson a 9 today. Just for the fact that he kept us in the game. And yeah, that would be great to get BJ on that, because God knows how many times this has happened. It's kind of a coincidence that on the other, I don't know if it is a coincidence or if it's just a lack of concentration for a second, that we take advantage of the other side after the big missed chance, because we always seem to score on the other side right afterwards, or it feels like that. But yeah, I would give him a 9. I thought not only in goal, he was really great. I know the moments you're talking about, but I thought aside from that, the way he kind of put the ball in play was really good too, like rolling it out or throwing it out and stuff like that. So I'll go with a 9 on that one. Gomez, your favorite guy to see at right back. I know. Had the assist, almost had another one, I thought. Played really well, as close as you can get to Trent. It's not fair to expect a Trent-like performance for him. Few brain farts here and there, maybe defensively, but that's not his position. I actually give him an 8.
Okay, so you give him an 8, but give Alisson a 9?
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, so Gomez, I feel like this was a game
where it's going to play out over here.
Yeah, I feel like this was a game where everyone took anything I've ever said critically about them as a player and took it personally. So like I've always been tough on Gomez because I don't like him at fullback. And we complained about his final ball in general, and then he hammers out a game today where he was positionally really sound, was super bright going forward, and had the final ball. So I thought Gomez. So to me, the difference. I mean, you could probably make the argument, and a lot of people are going to make the argument for Jota. But for me, the difference in this match was the delivery off the right side that made it 1-0. Jota gets the header, and he has a nice header, but it's all possible because Gomez is making the runs and pumping balls in from the right. So I had him at an 8.5 today.
Wow. Okay. Well, early man of the match forecast there too. Draft the Matip, man. I would give him a 7.5. I thought he was solid, good overall on the ball, had a couple of moments pushing up, but I go with 7.5.
I give him a 7.5 too. I had him at a 7 until he did that back heel assist in the penalty box, near assist. That pushed me to a 7.5 on him.
Yeah, he's a midfielder in a center back body. Van Dijk, what you got for him?
7. It's funny because even when he has what you would think is sort of a subpar performance, when you think of his moments in the match, you think of him casually out jumping like 3 guys for a ball in the air. You think of him like delicately stripping the ball off one of their midfielders. So like he's just Van Dijk. I thought he was quiet throughout, but I also think that he just kind of cleans up tidily. It doesn't look like he's doing a whole lot of work even when he's being world class. So I have him at a 7.
Yeah, it's weird because we said average rating is 6. For Van Dijk, he should probably be like 7 because I go with 7 too. I mean, it was, it's just him being him. It made it look easy. Robertson, so-and-so, like did his normal thing, nothing exceptional. So I go with 7.5.
I went with 7 for Robbo. I just think it was a very average performance from him. I mean, I think he always puts in the work, right? The difference between a great game from him is usually his final delivery, which I didn't think was great today.
See, Gally already says that you can't find writings, and yeah, we cover this because this is the only way we can get him to do ratings. We have to really cater to Bickler now because his audience demands the ratings from him. So, Hendo, I think midfield we're gonna probably be a bit more critical of. I think Hendo, I go with 7. Had a couple of good balls, did his normal work rate, but nothing exceptional.
Yeah, ditto that. I go 7 for all the same reasons you just mentioned. Sort of a calm, steady hand at the back, but nothing exceptional.
Jones, what do you have?
Man, I have Jones at a 5. I thought he had a really tough game. I thought he got caught on the ball several times. I thought he was sort of lost positionally. I don't really fancy him on the right side anyway. I think that goal versus Everton has damned us to an eternity of watching him try to strike that same shot and hitting it in a row Z over and over again. I just thought he struggled today.
I'll be nice, I guess, and give him 5.5, but I do struggle to give him a 6. I thought he was pretty poor overall. Just lost a lot of balls in bad situations. I almost give him he had the ox thing going today for me, where he was almost trying too hard to make things happen. Play the simple ball. That's what this midfield is all about. That's why you have Thiago in there. We don't need 2 Thiagos. The other midfield, 2 midfielders' role is more to play the simple ball and move the ball, and he just did not do that, which brings us to Thiago, who I give a 7.5. What do you have there? I thought he was good overall. Yeah. Everything good coming out came from him. A couple of ridiculous passes as always. I mean, he kind of directs traffic, which you got to admire.
I had him at an 8 just because I thought he hit. Honestly, if I'm honest, it's probably the 7.5 performance, and I'm leaning 8 just because, like you said, there is 2 or 3 balls, one of which was in the first 7 minutes of the game that were so jaw-droppingly ridiculous that, if you've never played the game and you're watching, you probably wouldn't think too much of it. Anybody who's spent time on a pitch sees that, just kind of put your jaw on the floor. There's the sheer ability and the vision to see some of those passes and execute them in sort of a nonchalant, he did all those things. All the good things come from us. And it doesn't even look like he broke a sweat. He just kind of strolls off the pitch when he's subbed out. Yeah, I go 8. I thought it was a really good performance.
Yeah, he gave us, we were talking on the podcast on Monday about getting 90 minutes from him. He gave 89, so that's pretty darn close. I mean, he was not 90 though, kids, but I'll give you 89.
Even Thiago was listening probably to me. He's like, listen, Kloppa, you gotta.
Somebody who's definitely listening to us is Mo Salah. What do you have for Mo?
Well, let's hope so, because I was really pulling for a Mo goal. I had him at 5.5. He looks like he's tired. Teams are crowding him out, and he's just missing simple things because he's trying to do it all too much. And I think part of even if you go back to watch the greats, MJ will make this argument against it, probably Kobe too in basketball, but the greats understand when they don't have it and when they need to play off of their strengths and make the players around them better. And I feel like sometimes Mo is trying to create magic by going through 4 players when he's better just dumping it to the easy option and clearing out and making space, at least pulling those defenders out. So I thought he struggled today, 5.5.
I agree with 5.5. I would like to give him a 6 just because, it wasn't terrible. I guess, it's kind of like when we were talking earlier about Van Dijk. The standards are much higher, so maybe unfairly grade him. But yeah, I mean, I know he had that goal against Watford, but that's why that goal was special. It doesn't happen every time. So do not take 4 guys on over and over and over again. I feel like if he takes advantage of those moments and moves the ball after he attracts 3-4 people piling up on him, those spaces will open up back for him. He is forcing it a bit more. Do you think anything to do with the national team or contract situation, or it's just, it's just one of those times?
So I feel for him because I feel man, that's got to be really heavy. International shit on top of some pretty complicated club shit. So my heart feels for him. I think internationals do have a play. I think for me, it's more physical than it is mental for Mo right now. I think he's just got so many miles on the tread. He's done so many minutes for Egypt. And I think physically, when you're handling a lot of that stress affects you physically too. So I think it's a combination of just game fatigue and kind of probably pulling in a lot of that stress. So I wanted to see him bang one in from open play because he desperately kind of needs that. All great goal scorers kind of need to have that and knock that rust off and get off that drought.
I feel the same. It's like it's going to take one to open the floodgates again and have that confidence. I mean, I look at some of the goals he scored this season where it's a result of confidence. Like I recall like that fourth goal against United. I was just watching it the other day because that's what I do. And you normally don't take that shot, and not that way, not to that corner, but it's just that confidence to hit it like that and just like nail it exactly where it should go. Jota, who I know obviously got the goal and then earned the penalty, which was part of like the worst defending I've seen in a while. More looked like a wrestling match. And I'll be honest, I did not see it at the time when it initially happened. But when you watch that, because you kind of like looking at the ball, and it's not even like by the ball. And this is what happens when you don't look at the ball. You tackle a guy who's nowhere to be found. So yeah. I go 8.5 for him.
Ridiculous. I'll actually go 7.5 for Jota. I know that's probably going to be a controversial rating for a lot of people. I mean, because he did score the game winner, and because that he just continues to score even when he's not playing particularly well. But I think this is the fourth or fifth match on the run that I think that he's been fairly average across the board. But I mean, the lucky thing for us is his average. I mean, he out jumps 3 guys taller than him and scores. I mean, but I thought he lost possession a lot. I thought he was a little sloppy in possession. I thought his movement wasn't as good as it's been. But I think a lot of that also comes down to the fact that he's just more effective centrally. So I have him at a 7.5 today.
Yeah, we'll probably talk on like the podcast tomorrow. I mean, on Monday, where I thought, it was odd, but it's kind of worked out, and we got the rest people, so I really can't complain. Last guy from the 11, Bobby. I put Bobby at 8. The number I lost count of how many balls he won in midfield. I know, it does not get seen as much because he's an attacker and he wasn't involved in like a lot of like attacking moves or whatever. But man, that guy kept winning ball one after another.
Wow, this is a like red letter day, man. Because mine's a 6.5, and I'm a Bobby guy.
What?
Yeah, no, and so nobody appreciates Bobby in his work rate like I do. I thought really? For me, I thought my thing is I thought that he just wasn't as sharp on the offensive side of the ball. Like in the final third, when a lot of these intricate passes he usually pulls off, I didn't feel like we're coming off today. But you're right, he was winning a lot of balls in midfield. And I think that he's starting, his movement is starting to get better with Jota. They're starting to figure each other out a little bit more. I thought it was the best that I've seen them work together in tandem since we've seen them, which hasn't been often, but since we've seen them kind of introduced in the lineup at the same time. Yeah, 6.5 for me, but that's wild, man.
That's wild, stingy, and just wrong. But I felt, honestly, I think he struggles a bit more because the wide players, like Mo, stays really wide, but Jota, just by habit, crawls in a lot more, so it leaves less space for him to move around in there. If he had Mane or Diaz on the left, I think you would see a more efficient attacking Bobby. But yeah.
It's a good point.
You're wrong. I'm right. Okay, let's go to.
Hey, if I'm going to be wrong, I'll be wrong about that one for sure.
Let's go to the bench. First guy coming in was Fabinho. I honestly thought it was called for. It looked like it was based off of an injury, so I have not listened to the post-match interview yet, but it should have happened anyway if it wasn't for an injury. I give Fab 7.5 just for basic limited time. Nailed a beautiful penalty. Nobody's saving that. You need 2 goalies. Maybe then somebody will save that, but just did his thing.
Yeah, I have that 7.5 too. I thought it was a really good sub when we were up 1-0 and we need sort of to just reinforce the midfield and stabilize the game. I thought that was the best substitution you can. He's been scoring unstoppable penalties since he's been at Monaco. I like when they cut to Mo right before the penalty. Mo gets subbed out. We earn a penalty. They cut to Mo. I was expecting Mo to just casually slip out a green laser pen and hit Fab with it. But I thought Fab was really good. He's like a Roomba in midfield, man. He just cleans up. 7.5 for me. I think it's right.
Yeah, they cut Demo, who wasn't able to take the penalty. I almost thought that the camera was going to pan over to me, who just picked him up in fantasy and captained them. And the
Yes.
disappointment on my face, but that did not
You're not
happen.
alone. You're not alone, my friend.
And of course, the most important substitution that happens when we got 89 out of Thiago instead of 90, and Milner comes in. And shockingly, I felt like he was cheated out of a yellow card. He just didn't have enough time or minutes to get one. Just for shits and giggles, I give him a 7, I guess, for being Milner.
Oh man, I guess that's fair. I don't know. He was in for like a half a second. We didn't get Mane, did we? We missed Mane.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I skip Mane? Yeah, let's go Mane as well. Do a double rating.
Yeah,
a double rating. I don't want to like put you on the stress over here.
No, I'll do. Yeah, Mane I had at a 5.5 just because I didn't think he was much of an improvement on Mo. I thought he seemed like he was struggling. He was getting in good spots. I think if he's in like the game 15 minutes longer, he probably tucks that chance away where he's one-on-one with the keeper and just doesn't get enough on it past him. But yeah, I just thought he kind of struggled. But I think it's also, man, those guys' their games are predicated on rhythm, and it can be tough coming off the bench trying to get in there.
I thought he was able to get into situations just because of that. I think I'm going to give him a 6.5. I would have given him 7, but when I saw you go stingy, I cut another half point off. But yeah, I thought at least he was getting into those situations compared to Mo in terms, and he was a lot more active, and partially because he doesn't force it as much as Mo in terms of taking players on, be able to move the ball around, eventually create stuff. Did you give a rating for Milner? Don't short him.
I just said 7. I said whatever you said.
I said what you said.
Yeah, I went with the poll.
I think we know where we're going, but man of the match, who you got?
Man, I'm going Gomez. I know a lot of people are going to make the argument for the goal
right back, says Bickler, man of the match. I'm going to change the headline after this.
Yeah, but that's like Gomez, right? I mean, Gomez like is up and down. I feel like he has outstanding performances and then follows it up by a dud. So we'll see what happens. But this is a good spot start for him. Obviously we needed the rest across the board.
I think the last time we saw him, we kind of said, he's making good runs. He's doing everything on the right-hand side, but he does not have trans delivery, which hurts him. I thought today he had good delivery going into the box as well. Yeah. So pretty impressive overall. But I am going to have to go back to my ratings and give it to Ali. I felt he kept us in the game. And that was a huge, huge moment because this is the kind of game. This game was either going to be like a 4-1, 4-0 game or like a 1-0 game. And if we concede a goal, especially at that moment, I don't know if it would be really tough because the crowd was already nervous. So I'm going to have to give him. Goalies don't get enough credits. Any parting thoughts, Bickler, now that we got your ratings out of you somehow?
No.
I thought you were closing the book on this broadcast, which sounds about right. Sounds about right. Thank you, everybody. We'll be here after every game. Chime in with your ratings, and we'll be back after the Benfica game, I guess. Take care, everybody.